it's always best. I don't just want to sit here and just talk, because that's just not. It doesn't work for anybody. I don't think. You just go away with like a big jumble of stuff. So the best way to give you what I want to give you is by you asking me questions, and you can ask me anything you like. So we started with the theme of relationships, but really it doesn't bother me what you ask. If it's something that you feel is a question coming from this place rather than your head. Does that make sense? So as soon as someone asks me a question, as soon as we get started. Who wants to ask the first one?
Asking you about Ellis, and I was saying how worried I was about her, and she seems to be anxious being away from me and dropping her off at school and stuff like that.
Yeah. What was interesting for me with that when we were speaking is you weren't transferring her anxiety onto you, which was really good, which means that you actually saw the problem or the situation as it was, rather than over dramatising it. Does that make sense? So it was quite easy working with you with that, because normally the mothers become a bit neurotic. It all then becomes about, what have I done wrong? What can I do to make things right? And with you remaining neutral about it, seeing it for what it was, means you didn't go down that pathway it didn't exist in. So it was easy then for me to talk with your daughter rather than yourself. So 9 times out of 10 I'll be spending all my time with the mum and not even bothering talking about the child, because I'd have to get rid of the neurosis before we could even see what was happening with the child. Alice feels scared, but she knows there's no logic to feeling scared, and that makes it scarier.
Right, yes.
So what I've asked her to do is just acknowledge the scared and feel it, and let it come through the body as an energy, as a dynamic, and let go of it. So don't actually focus on the scared part, but just feel the feeling itself, and then it just sort of disappears. So she's I find children nowadays are more sensitive. Some children you find are really sensitive, and so they just take on feelings. They just feel them naturally as a matter of course, and that's really quite confusing for them for 2 reasons. Firstly, they recognise that their peers don't feel the same way, and that alienates them, or they alienate themselves because of that. But also the parents struggle with that a lot, and try to rearrange the child. So try and take the sensitivity away. So they're drawn 2 ways. They're drawn towards the sensitive side of their nature and away from it because they feel that it's not right. So for me, Alice is in that place thinking, very much she's thinking, isn't she, what's the matter with me? When in fact there's nothing the matter with her.
Yeah.
And if you can accept that, then the problem just sort of fades into the background anyway, and she gets to the point where she welcomes in her sensitivity rather than tries to push away or pull away from it. We all sort of problem solve. Not just me, but everyone else included. And a lot of problem solving is just understanding. And a lot of problems with problem solving is that we don't understand. So, like when we work today and we understand the situation with others, we approach it in the way that we have. In it's just a situation. It's not a problem, it's a situation. And then we take away a lot of the fear and the anxiety and all that stuff that goes with it. And she was really happy, wasn't she? When we'd finished speaking, and she said, "What do you say?" She said goodbye to me 10 times and gave me a hug and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was enough, I felt, for me to communicate to her that there really isn't a problem here.
Yeah, she did. She went away really happy there.
So that's good when we build that energy up and we share that and we go, everything's okay really, but we have a situation going on, and you have situations every day of the week, every week of the year, for every year of your life, and we just approach them. Sometimes, we spoke about this in another scenario, didn't we, about the fine line between nervousness and excitement. And really it's actually exactly the same physical action that happens when we're nervous as when we're excited. So your adrenaline starts going, and we get a short breath, the heart beats faster, the mouth goes dry, we're ready for action. But if we want to do this thing, we recognise it as excited and we go, I can't wait for this, and then we push all our energy into it, and we actually, all energy should be used, whatever it is. So, if you feel like crying, you should cry. If you feel like laughing, you should laugh. So the energy, once it's created, has to be used in order to be powerful and useful and part of who we are as human beings. So it's very important that we recognise our dynamic. It's very important that we recognise, this is why it's mind, body and soul. When the energy builds up, if only we can look at it as something new, something enjoyable, something that takes us out of the situation that we're in, rather than think, hey, you know, I'm not used to this. As soon as we go, I'm not used to this, this is new territory for me, invariably we fall into the dynamic of nervousness, and then we resist the temptation to go forward dynamically. Although actually what we probably experience is really excitement. So we become fearful. When we become fearful, we use the word nervous and we retreat. So if we can just sort of go, you know, let's wait and see what happens. Let's just use our spontaneity. We speak about spontaneity a lot because spontaneity is always from the soul, it comes from instinct. And when you use your instinct will always be right, you know, because it's working on your best behalf and in tune with Mother Nature and in tune with all that's been learned through the generations, not just this tiny little thing that's up in your head that's been there for you for your lifetime. So if you can use your intuition, you'll be spontaneous and you'll get positive results because that's always around what you want, always. And your brain will manufacture things and your brain is largely responsible for keeping you safe. So it'll have loads of these ways to get out of taking on new situations. And it will take you back there and it will go, oh, you remember when? Or remember what happened to what's his name? Or what's her face? And it will get you out of the very situation that you want to go in if you use your spontaneity which comes from your intuition. So when you get the feeling, this is what we're saying to illustrate, when you get the feeling, feel the feeling. Don't judge the feeling, feel the feeling. And so what we happen as adults, we get either excited or nervous, but that is only in our heads, the feeling's the same, okay? So I'd love to see you getting that feeling and going, I've got that feeling and I'm going to make sure that I recognise that excitement. It's going to get me into a place that maybe I haven't been to before, but it's going to be such a fantastic thing for me. So all inspiration, all spontaneity, all the blueprint of who you are as a soul, as a human being, so however many lives you want to imagine, will come from your gut, not your head. It can never come from your head. You will never make a purposeful decision for your soul from your head. You can have, I've seen people in loads and so many situations, and I've seen people that have waited for, this one just springs to mind, waited for an amount of money to come from a certain situation, and it ended a whole part of this person's life that was a horrid period of their life. And it also gave them a great deal of money, and it also gave them a great deal of money that would secure a good life for her family. We're talking about millions and millions of pounds. We're talking about £11 million here. And this has been ongoing for 10 years. And the closer it got to the closure of this 10 years, the more she was looking forward to it. And the day when the cheque come through and it didn't even go to court and it was all over, I was spending lunch with her and she didn't feel a little bit different than she had for the entire 10 years. Because she'd imagined in her head what was going to happen for her for 10 years when this cheque came through and how it's going to secure all this stuff. She never felt it with her heart. The reason she didn't was she didn't dare feel it in her heart in case it never happened. And that's another thing we do. The more we really want something in our gut, the less effort we put into it because we can't believe it'll come true and we fear that it won't. So we're quite half-hearted. So that's the other thing we sort of touched on today, is that if you go with your heart's desire, which will come from your heart, not your head, when you think about it, it can't happen any other way. So if you go with your heart's desire, go with all of your heart with your heart's desire. Give it every single thing you've got, and you will reward your heart. If you go half-heartedly into something you really want, you're not going to end up with anything.
How do you differentiate absolutely between the desires of your heart and the desires of your mind?
Okay, that love of a meal. Okay. Can your brain love food? Why would your brain tell you any different from a plate of cabbage to sirloin steak? Because your brain would just go, I need this to live. So why just eat plates of cabbage every day?
Okay, so the watering of the mouth, the senses, the taste senses.
Everything is a sense, yeah. What your brain does primarily is to keep you safe, so it's your computer system. And we come to rely on the computer system because we feel safe with it. But safety never gives you a thrill, if you like. It only gives you repeat performances. and there's no joy in repeat performances. So anything that, when you get into using spontaneity as your tool and knowing that it will never let you down, then you enjoy everything with a sensory pleasure, and you enjoy it immediately. Because spontaneity, because love, because of our soul, that is a very momentary thing. You shouldn't stay with it. And what people want to do is they want to grab hold of it through insecurity. They want to prolong a moment. They want to prolong a good moment, right? So, for example, if when I see my kids, when I don't see them for a long time, and then when I see them, I get that first moment when I see them, which is just like, it's like a bliss for me. It's so amazingly beautiful for me, so much love in it. But I don't try and prolong that moment. So that lasts for maybe, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever, and that's like a real blast of pure love. Now, I don't want that to last all night when I'm with them. It's like a welcoming in thing, yeah? And then it sort of mellows out. But it mellows out around that initial burst, do you see? But what we try to do as human beings, we go, I want some more of that, and more of that, and more of that. And you know, that bad stuff, I don't want that at all. So I'll try it this way. I won't feel sad, I won't feel guilty, I won't feel all of this. I just want the love stuff. And that's not being in tune with who we are at all. Because as human beings, we're supposed to have the whole range of emotions. We must have them in order to be a human being, or to live as a human being, shall I say. So what we do as human beings, we go, I want the love stuff, but I don't want the sad stuff. So I'll cut out the ability to feel the sad stuff. And we can do that. We are capable of doing that as human beings. We can turn our back on it. We can swallow it down. We can go, right, I'm not feeling sad. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to do this, that, and the other. But what we don't understand is when we shave the top off that ability to say cry from 100% to 70%, we also shave off 30% of all our other abilities to feel other emotions. So if we go, I'm only going to allow myself to ever in my life feel 70% sad, I'm never going to go up to 100% sad, you're only ever going to go up to 70% of the ability to love. Because it just shaves the whole lot off. Because it can't differentiate. All it does is go on percentages. So if you give 100% of anything, then you have the ability to give 100% of everything. And if you decide I'm only going to give 70 to one thing, it's going to rebound on the other thing, which makes sense if you think about it. So lots of people live lives on a number. We spoke about numbers today. That's a great way of finding how someone feels. Do you feel like a number 1, which is the worst? Do you feel like a number 10? And kids get that very quickly. Because, I feel like a number 6 today, a number 7. And lots of people that I work with have been on a number, say 5 is average, on 4, 3, 2, 5 for the whole of their lives. And have every want to live higher numbers, but not the ability, because they've shaved it off. They don't want the bad stuff that goes with the bad numbers, so they don't get the good stuff that goes with the good numbers. I don't know if I'm answering a question with that. I don't even know where we went with that. But I don't even know what you asked now. I forgot.
No, it makes sense. It answers the question. How do you differentiate where the feeling is coming from? Your desires are coming from.
Yeah, but you do know. But you confuse yourself by thinking about the answer to it.
Okay.
So when you try and think about where it comes from, then you are you're going, how am I putting that? You know automatically where the feeling comes from, right? When you feel love, you know it's love. You know you're not doing a thinking love. But now you're thinking about how you do it, so you bring it back to the other level. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
I trust all my relationships with everything with my heart. And I'm not going to listen to my head at all. Once you do that only 2, 3, 4 times, you'll go, hey, this is easy, I'm going to do it all the time. And you do it every single time. Boom, boom, boom. And you won't go up there at all. And your head will be happy with that, by the way, because you go, I don't need to take the responsibility anymore. This is great, I can just lean back and do nothing. I'll still keep you safe, but I won't try and take charge of the blueprint of your soul. I won't try and take charge of something I know nothing about. Your brain will never have any single concern, and cannot have any single concern about the way you feel, because it can't get the concept. It doesn't have that, just totally different territories.
So that old-fashioned saying, "Don't let your heart rule your head."
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, and there's another one that I look at a lot with people when they, it's a try and try again. You know, for me that's just ludicrous, because nature will be in a scene with you. It will work with you. The things that we're doing as a group, amazing things have happened, and I shouldn't be surprised by that, because I talk about that and have talked about that for the last 25 years with my people. Yeah, I'm still surprised it's happening in the group that I'm in, where these things are just like amazing things that are happening. And the reason for that is because it has a synchronicity, because it's right. Because it follows a line, and Mother Nature, whoever you want to trust in, it doesn't matter. You can have any god, demigod, you can have, it doesn't matter. But trust in something outside of yourself that will assist you when you assist yourself feelingly, will always be there for you. So the try again? No, I never. I always then say, listen, what's going on here? You know? But yes, that's one I always had at school. Try again. And the other one you mentioned was, don't let your heart rule your head. For what purpose? I don't get it.
So when things are not going right, you should use your brain to assess the situation as opposed to your heart.
No. Your brain got you into that mess in the first place.
So you use your heart to get out.
Yeah. You stop and you go. It's really interesting. If you go to universities and you see all the students and they go and do their, they pick their course and they study for 2, 3, 5 years, whatever they do. And at the end of it, they go on a sabbatical, which is the best possible thing they could do. They go, I'm going to go to India, I'm going to go and take 6 months off. You ask how many of those graduates, after they've had a sabbatical, actually go into the field that they studied, and you'll probably find it's about 3 to 5%. Because they step back and they go, what the hell have I done? Why on earth did I want to be a lawyer, whatever the hell it is they chose? And that's good. On the sabbatical, they stop thinking and they start to feel. The choice is really simple. You have 2 options. You have thinking and feeling. And if you are not in a place you want to be, I guarantee you, without a shred of a doubt, it was your head that got you there. Does that answer anything for you? You can go as far as you want with this, right? And if you don't get it or you don't agree with it, you know, you please.
No, the moment you said it, it made sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did it make sense? Where in your body does it make sense?
Oh, in my head.
Okay, take it away from your head. Take it away from your head. Transfer it down into your stomach. Okay, just take. Okay, well, I know it's in my head. Right, I'll take that. I'll put it down there, and then when it's in there, breathe it up, and then tell me how you feel about it. Because I could see that. Why I didn't leave you at that point, because I could see you trying to work it out in your head.
Yeah.
So put it down in your tummy, breathe it up to your heart, feel it in a different place, and then you'll have a resonance with it. I don't want you thinking about what we say here. I want you feeling about what we say. I don't want you, this is why I said, I'm not going to sit here and say loads of things to you and you go away and say, that was interesting, or I didn't agree with that. It's worthless. I want you all to go away and feel about what you learn here. Feel about what I say. Thinking about it doesn't work. Okay. So if your energy isn't moving properly, and remember your energy is derived from the blueprint of your soul, who you are, right? So let's say we're all energy, we all agree with that because it's been proven for years now. So we are just energy. So your soul is the thing, your being is the thing that produces the energy, not your head. So you produce that energy, and then something has to happen with that energy. And really what should happen is it goes outward. So we recognise that when we meet someone at the airport that we love, and we don't keep our hands down by the side and go, I've really missed you, and wander off. You know, we put our arms around them, we hug them, and we kiss people, and we laugh with people, and we do all those things as a matter of course, because we recognise it's a good feeling, and I want it out, and I want to share it, and I want to bring it in. And we do it as a sort of matter of course. When it's a bad feeling, we don't want to feel it, so we transfer it down in the gut, put it down, we swallow it down, we actually physically swallow it down. When I work with people, I'll see that a lot. Well, first of all, I see them stop breathing, and then they will swallow. Sometimes when I bring the feeling up, if I use relaxation techniques, and I can see it coming up here, and then they'll go, and then you'll see them swallow it back down in their gut. So the reason we put it down in the gut is because not a lot of things can go wrong there. You know, your brain's too clever to go, I'll hide it in the heart, because, hey, listen, it doesn't work, because that's a really important organ. But you can do all sorts of things down here. But I've worked with clients as young as 13 with ulcers, peptic ulcers, because they're transferring the energy down here. So, you know, things can go wrong. You see lots of people with stomach problems. There's so many things that can go wrong. But in later life, there's a longevity to the problems in here. They don't manifest until a lot later on. So you can store grief, guilt, anger, all these negative ones down here for a long period of time before you go, oh, you know what, I've got hiatus, I've got colitis, I've got, you know more about that. How many are there? 20, 30 different stomach problems you can have. But they have this is a storeroom for it. And so going back to what you said about
so
So
the
when
gut.
they say, yeah, go with your gut feeling, so if it's feeling bad, you should move that. That's what I'm kind of saying. It's a feeling, because it is a feeling.
Yeah, but don't forget you've got a storehouse of bad feeling anyway. So, and I can work with someone and say, how do you feel in your gut? Because I'll feel their feeling. Maybe I should elaborate on that a bit. So when I work with someone on a one-to-one, I will feel what they're feeling. Okay? So I will feel what they're feeling, but they won't necessarily feel it. And I'll say, can you tell me what number you're feeling in your stomach? And they go, oh, number 5, average. But that'll be because they're so used to that feeling. But actually it will be incredibly tight and uncomfortable. But they're just used to 5. That, you know, making it number 5. So when we say, you've got to be careful when you have to differentiate between gut feeling as in intuition and gut feeling as in uncomfortable. And the other thing that happens when we store stuff down in the gut, we make it all tight, we make our intuition unavailable to comment because we just restricted it, you know, like that. So the heart is the one that always counts. Always. And you can go directly to the heart if you're brave enough. But you have to be brave. You have to go, I want to feel. I'm ready to be a human being. I don't care whatever's happened to me in the past or what may happen to me in the future, but you know, fuck it, I want to be human. And that's the move. That's the move. Accepting that you are a human being, and either you honour that or you dishonour yourself by going, I'm going to stay in my head and I'm going to, I don't know, whatever you can do. There's so many things you can do in your head, isn't
It's
there?
a horrible thing, isn't it, when it's in your stomach and it's on your chest. In your stomach is tight and an anxiety on your chest.
Yeah.
I remember in business for years, I thought that was the normal feeling and what would happen normally. And I did it for years and years and years, and then realised, with help here and there, that that doesn't have to happen. And nowadays, it's completely gone. That's fantastic. But you're saying about peptic ulcers. I did exactly that. Gave myself a peptic ulcer because I keep it all inside. And then there'd be a phone call, a tiny problem, or even something positive. But I would still have all these, you know, all the feelings and the knotted up stomach. And now it's such a different feeling in life with everything. A problem, or a good thing, or a bad thing.
You get to enjoy the positive more.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you're not concentrating so much on your body's not concentrating on healing all these scars that are taking ages to heal. And the positive is what you get to feel when you've got nothing going on here, you know, free.
So it's a transition, but you're going from you're just going from one way of being to another way of being. And all you're doing is actually becoming you, and you're taking the facade away. It's such an incredible difference to be liberated by actually being you than trying to be a you don't know exists. Do you understand? You're thinking still about what I'm saying.
But I think a lot of people might feel, if they've had really something bad happen in relationships or whatever, they're frightened to use their heart then.
Absolutely.
Their heart's broken, or
Absolutely.
you know, they use their heart to make that decision and it didn't work.
But their heart doesn't make that decision, their head makes that decision. the head goes, hold on a minute, you've had a rough time as it is, you ain't going down that road again. But your heart doesn't think. Your heart goes, it's a love thing, so it goes, it wants to give it and accept it wherever it goes. In fact, it would. If you took all away the intellectual restraints, it would go, I love you and I love you. This is what we talk about with unconditional love. So, unconditional love also has to take in the aspect of a broken heart, grief, separation, so forth. So, you know, but the heart doesn't go, I'm going to put all my love into this and then this person dies and therefore that's it, I ain't doing it ever again. It doesn't have that as a process. It's our intellect going, that hurt too much and I don't want to go through that process again. So your body does what your body does, your heart does what your heart does and will continue to do so. So stop trying to interfere with it. You know, let it do what it's supposed to do. Or if you want to interfere with it, if you want to go, you know, I don't want to feel hurt, I don't want to feel grief, I don't want to feel anger, I don't want to feel guilt, I don't want to feel all those horrible things. Recognise that you aren't going to feel the topmost of the good things either, because it cannot differentiate in the way that you'd like it to.
You can't just shut certain emotions down, they're just all
no, because it's arranged. It has an experience. You give it. Well, you can say to your heart, your soul, okay, I want to experience. You know, with children, you see a child and they'll experience number 10 of everything. You see them have 10 for 10. You just see all that thing, and we go, oh my God, what they do? But they're experiencing number 10s of the whole caboodle. And then we start going, don't show me up like that, or don't cry when this happens, or whatever things we do. And they start chopping the numbers down. We go, I can't afford to do this, because if I do this, I'm going to get whatever from my mum and dad. I'll make myself a number 9 instead of a number 10, see how that works out. And you just keep chopping the numbers down as you grow to whatever level. And some kids chop their numbers down 3, 4 years of age, they're already number 5s for the rest of their life. Number 2s for the rest of their life. But that's what we do intellectually. We chop our own numbers down. But you cannot differentiate. You cannot go, I'm going to take all away, you know, the possibility of feeling any guilt, but I'm still going to feel wonderfully free and alive. So actually, if you do chop away all guilt, you end up being a psychopath. Because of course that's what a psychopath is, they don't feel any guilt. So, no, you know, it depends how brave you want to be with yourself. It depends how important your life is to you. And whether you're prepared to take the risk of sharing you with you primarily, and then with other people. And some people see that as a great risk. Yes. And as you said about the broken heart. But you know, if you have the broken heart for whatever reason it is, does that really make sense for you to consign that heart back into the place down in that cellar of your gut where you're never going to see it again? Not really. Not for me.